Men didn't exist, who would protect women?
From who?
What?
Why would women need protecting if men didn't exist?
What is that supposed to mean?
You asked the question, you tell me.
Yeah, that was a rude
Who else is?
answer.
Oh, really? Well, who else
Yeah.
is attacking women besides men?
Honey, what do you mean? There's a roach in the house.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Who's gonna protect you?
Do I need
You're literally
protecting
dating
from
a
your
man.
roach?
You're dating a man.
Really? Because I have to tell you where your clothes are and where you put everything.
So that doesn't make me a man. You're a woman. You should do those things. The question was,
I'm also protecting myself.
who would protect women if men didn't exist?
I don't understand what we would need protection from if men didn't exist.
I don't know. Snakes, alligators, spiders.
Okay. But, like, are we out there on the Amazon taunting these animals so they attack us, or are we just here in our houses?
So you're saying the world would be better off if men didn't exist?
You just said who would need protection. I just said from nobody, because that's just men.
If men didn't exist, who would protect women?
Does anybody have the answer to that question? If men didn't exist, who would protect women? I thought that was so funny, especially since, not ha funny, like ironic funny, considering you go over this timeline that I go over on a day to day basis, and all I see are many different cases of men absolutely out of control, whether it be a woman that they don't know. I saw a video the other day. Sometimes I don't. I'll save things and then I'll take it out based on what we have time to talk about over here, y'all. Welcome to the coffee chat. I just went in on and started talking. Good morning, Elsid. I just went in and started talking, and I did not do the business. Welcome to Coffee Talk. It's Hump Day. How's your hump? Hope everybody's hump is not too humpy. My hump, I don't know. I ain't started. I'm just getting here, so we'll see. But yeah, like the video, subscribe to the channel, talk to a friend, tell them to come over here and get part of this conversation, because we talk about good things over here, interesting things. And this morning we're gonna start with, like, what would who would protect the women over here if there were no men? And I'm like this lady. From what? I don't usually run into alligators. Actually, that's not true. On my morning walks, well, I haven't taken a morning walk outside in a while. That's a whole nother long story. But yeah, on your morning walk, if you live in Florida, if there's any type of water anywhere around, then you need to go ahead and keep your distance, but be careful. But I've seen alligators on many a day. I did not need any protection. I don't know anybody that needs the protection from a roach. But the question that this man posed is an interesting question. Now, that's not to say that women aren't crazy, because I run across a lot of cuckoo women over here. But yeah, who would protect these poor, frail, innocent women if there weren't any men? I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying I don't want them here, because I actually happen to enjoy them. I'm just saying I never needed protection, from anybody but a man. Isn't that wild? In Florida, you cannot, I can see the bottom of the water. It's so funny because it's not an ocean thing generally. If it's a pool thing, because I did see an alligator crawling around in somebody's pool. Lions and tigers and bears, oh my. I feel like Florida also, I don't know if it's still the case, but at one point Florida had the most, like, lions and tigers of these folks that want to live out in the woods and keep wild animals as pets. So yeah, that every now and then you'll hear a random story of a lion running past the people down to Publix. Anyway, I don't know any story about Publix, but y'all know what I mean. Anyway, yes, in Florida, we do not get in water that we can't see the bottom of. And I remember taking my kids to Michigan, and it's a man-made beach up there. My sister was adamant about taking the girls to the beach, and I'm like, "Girl, Diane, these are Florida girls. You're not gonna be able to impress them with this beach, that I grew up going to." But anyway, she took them to the beach, and they could not see, and they was like, "I ain't going in that water." And I don't blame them. Anyway, I thought that was interesting little Little cartoon. I love those little stick figure cartoons. They're so funny to me. Anyway, what else we got going on? This is actually just not this is just something that I thought was entertaining. We're going to start here. Dr. Monica L. Baskins just made history as the first Black woman to lead an NCI designated cancer center. On August 3rd, 2026, she became the director of VCU, Massey Comprehensive Cancer Center, also being the first woman to ever hold the role. I love this. We got to be so careful as humans, as African American humans, about where we're getting our medical care from. They don't love us; they actually hate us, and it feels like, as a Black woman, they hate us the most. They hate us the most, and they need us the most. Ain't that ironic? Anyway, I feel like whether it be being pregnant and having to go through your what do you call it? Whew, looks like the hump is humping. Looks like my hump is humping. Your prenatal care. As a woman going into a place, or a cancer center, going into somewhere and feeling like maybe these people don't care about me, I think there's a level of comfort in going in and seeing that the lead is a Black woman. And you have to do your due diligence still in terms of qualifications and things of that nature, but at least racism is not at play, unless your name is Officer Tatum, but that's a whole different story altogether. So yeah, shout out to this lady. Congratulations, and we'd love to see more of it. We're always looking forward to seeing more women, more Black women, more Black people in the medical field. I feel like over on Married to Medicine, they were saying it's like 5%. The percentage of Black people in the medical field is very low in comparison to others, and I think that's by design, to keep us out. Speaking of keeping us out, or letting us in, depends on how you look at it, the state of Washington will allow hundreds of aspiring lawyers to become attorneys without passing the bar after the exam was canceled. Washington Supreme Court allows hundreds of aspiring lawyers to skip the bar exam after technical failure. The Washington Supreme Court has approved a path allowing hundreds of aspiring lawyers affected by the cancellation of the July 2026 bar exam to become licensed without retaking the exam. Dang, Dr. Cheyenne, I know you wasn't trying to be no lawyer, but maybe this could have been a loophole for you. It's not about her. On July 2026, next gen uniform bar examination in Yakima was canceled for most applicants after major technology problems prevented the test from being administered as planned. More than 600 prospective lawyers had arrived to take the exam. On August 6th, the Supreme Court issued an order allowing eligible applicants who were unable to take the exam because of the technology failure to either take a special bar exam in September or accept a waiver of examination requirements. Those choosing the waiver can be admitted to the Washington State Bar by court order once they satisfy the remaining licensing requirements. The waiver does not apply to everyone. Applicants who successfully complete the July examination and submitted answers for scoring must wait for their results and are not eligible for the exam waiver. Oh my goodness. Washington previously used a similar emergency diploma privilege system during the C-19 pandemic in 2020, allowing qualifying law graduates to practice without taking the traditional bar exam. I mean, I did learn some information that I did not know before. Good morning, T. I feel like if I were to study law and I had to take all the steps that it takes to pass, to get my law degree, I would feel away. Um, yeah. Does this mean that they're not qualified? I don't know. I feel like the bar is very hard to take. It seems like people have to take it multiple times, a lot of times, in order to pass. But I feel the same way about the cosmetology licensing. Like sometimes very good stylists have a hard time passing the test for various reasons. I know here the complication, it's been my experience. I would have really good students who their English was good, their Spanish was so so. A lot of, like, when you're talking about taking exams and English is not your first language, sometimes the way things are worded in tests can be confusing for people. And also, the Spanish version of the test is not, it's European Spanish. It's a whole lot of Caribbean Spanish over here. So the European Spanish also has them confused. Like, I feel like it's Portuguese or some other Spanish language. And I'm like, that's by design too. Why wouldn't you just give them the Spanish, version that they speak over here? But anyway, what I did not know was the reason why the bar was put into place. So, um, just in some of the comments, it says lawyers used to go into practice without the bar exam until Black folks started becoming lawyers. It says, rightfully so, diploma privilege for all, abolish bar exam. It is an artifact of the Jim Crow era and a barrier to entry for Black folks, disabled people, and women. It's an exam that costs thousands. It's only offered twice a year, and your entire career hinges on it, but it does not test actual competence to practice law. We don't need reform. We need paid apprenticeships throughout law school. Now that part I can get with, because I feel the same way about my industry. Like the questions that, and I have to take my test, my to renew my license. I have to take it, October 31st is my deadline. And they ask questions that we don't run across in a day-to-day unless you're like doing something in the field that requires you to study a lot of science. We don't run across a lot of those questions. Some of them, are not really second nature because we haven't learned it since since school. I don't want to say we haven't learned it, but some things are not regular, day-to-day practice. We have to look up. When you start getting in the science, like the deeper science of things, that's not something that we deal with, like I said, on a regular basis. So you definitely learn more as an apprentice because you're doing the work, and the work becomes second nature. Now, I will say the fact that I do practice, the test is easy for me because I work on a lot of logic. You know what I'm saying? Like, variables. And if this happens. So there's parts of it. But I remember last year or so, not last year, but the last time I had to take the test, there was a weird question about the pH balance in shampoos sold in the grocery stores. And I'm like, what the what? What? I don't buy my shampoo at the grocery store. As a stylist, I get it from the salon. And, it's just a weird question that you probably wouldn't know. You know what I'm saying? I guarantee you nobody in the grocery store knows. Now, nobody in Sally's knows either. That's just one of those questions that you're like, what? Um, Everybody's logic is not the same. I get that. And I'm comparing, I'm just comparing because I have to continue my education and get a license. I'm comparing the hair industry as far as the knowledge. Like when you're there working day to day, I feel like in the law firm it's the same thing. If you're in the field and you're doing the work of day to day, laws change. Like I feel like with attorneys, you always have to be looking things up. That's why the paralegal, that's who you want to talk to. They got all the information. But for me, I just say, because I'm doing things day to day, I could put things into perspective. Yes, if you have a hairstylist who's trash and who's been, doing things the wrong way for 20 years. And a lot of times people will say that I've been doing hair for 20 years. I can't tell. You know what I'm saying? Because your science is bad and your habits are bad. But you're right. Everybody's logic is not the same. But for me, I feel like sometimes when I'm taking the test, I can get the answer without studying because, I'm practicing and, yeah, everybody's logic's not the same. Um, some of these comments though. This guy said this doesn't seem very prudent. You shouldn't get an automatic pass simply because the eval didn't happen. This is not a sound principle. Now, I agree with that also. I'm like, how come you couldn't just reschedule though? Like the bar is given twice a year. Seems like the bigger exception would have been like, unfortunately, we can't, do this test today. However, then some windows need to be made. You know what I'm saying? However, we're going to do it again next month. That way you don't have to wait all the way until the next, time they take the bar. Or maybe you do. I don't know. Most of these people are probably practicing under someone anyway. But yeah, I did not know that. I'm not sure. I mean, I guess just because, law is not my ministry. So I did not know that. Speaking on behalf of all the others who had to take the test, the bar are currently waiting 3 months for their fate to be determined. This is some crazy ish. Yeah, it's not fair to the people who have to take the bar. So yeah, I mean, good luck to y'all out there in Washington, because there's some people. I don't happen to think that um it has anything to do with their skills as a lawyer. They're going to go on and become who they were going to be anyway. But I want my paperwork. I don't want nobody to come and question me, you know what I mean, about whether or not I passed the bar. Ain't Kim Kardashian over there taking the bar 11 times? I wouldn't want her as my lawyer anyway. I'm just saying. So it's not an easy test to take. But, there's that. Um, Don Lemon want to know what's going on at Howard.
Everyone into the Don Lemon Show newsroom. Something is going on at Howard University. Something is going on. Howard is offering voluntary retirement and separation packages to about 600 eligible faculty and staff as the university tries to cut long-term costs. And remember, this was just weeks ago. More than 500 incoming students were abruptly disenrolled over unpaid balances shortly before the academic year. That caused a huge, huge uproar. More than 200 students have since been reinstated, but now you have hundreds of students affected on one side and potentially hundreds of faculty and staff on the other. So what is happening behind closed doors at Howard? Howard appears to be under serious financial pressure, appears to be. And if that is the case, its community deserves to know what is going on. People are depending on this HBCU for their education, their jobs, and their futures. They trust Howard. They deserve transparency, and they deserve answers. We're going to keep following this in my Lucky Lemon 7 newsletter on Substack. The link is in bio. Okay, breaking everyone into the Don Lemon Show newsroom. Something is going.
Okay, so there's an answer for Don. He should have just came to the comments. Howard lost $65 million in federal funding due to cuts by the Trump administration. This is why the buyout is happening. In addition, in the past, they allowed students to attend class even though their financial aid hadn't hit the accounts. They can't do that anymore because of the cuts in the federal funding. This next comment, that's why we're so busy raising money this weekend at Martha's Vineyard for HBCU's emergency funds. That's what it's going to take. It says, hi, college administrator here. And I can tell you it's not just Howard. Higher education as a whole is in a tough spot right now. The OBB has created some major challenges, and I don't know what OBB is. So if y'all know, let me know. I tried to find it and I couldn't find it. The OBB has credited some major challenges, and the reality is that a lot of institutions weren't prepared for the financial impact. A lot of times we don't fully understand where we stand financially until after July 1st. And even then, schools are still trying to figure out how to adjust and keep things moving. There's also a bigger issue that started long before Trump and his OBB. Some universities became way too top heavy before the Trump administration. Some institutions were hiring outside consultants, increasing salaries for senior leadership and faculty, and raising tuition with the expectation that students would absorb the cost. Now, for some schools, the return on those investments simply isn't adding up. Add the OBB and other financial pressures to the mix. You've got institutions with overhead they can no longer sustain. So what happens? They start trimming off the fat, cutting positions, programs, and expenses wherever they can. Unfortunately, I think this is going to get worse before it gets better. Howard is making headlines right now, but this is definitely not just a Howard problem, it's a higher education problem. I feel like that sounds about right. We knew it was coming. One big beautiful bill. That explains why I didn't know what it was, child. I be trying to anyway. I had a feeling it had something to do with this darn administration. Yeah, that sounds about right. I don't think there's a conspiracy there. I think at the beginning of the year, um, Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, I hate to keep referring to her as that. Um, she donated all of this money to all of these HBCUs, but she donated 70 million as a whole. And Howard is like 65 million, intention. So it makes sense. It makes sense. And yeah, we seen the fallout from it. This is definitely one of those situations designed to keep women and people of color out of the university. There's a attack on education, child. I heard that they're hiring. Well, I didn't heard it. I did hear it, but I forget who posted it. Like I said, I'll click on things and then get rid of them because I need to make room for what we're over here to talk about. But they're hiring what is it? The FAA is hiring video gamers to do air traffic control. If that's not a scary thought, but yeah, it's going to be more difficult. So, private, not parties, but private people, alumni are going to have to raise the money. I wouldn't say like I'm not worried about these people and their high paying salaries if they're not if they're not necessary. I feel like a lot of times I've been witness to watching the administration trying to create a job for someone they like. You know what I mean? That really wasn't serving. And I won't say this person wasn't serving a purpose, but the way that they try to finagle and get this person in office and make her position administrative instead of putting her in a classroom where she could teach the class she didn't want to teach. She wanted to be in the office. And so I've watched them create positions for people. You know what I mean? And then when the budget gets low, those are the people that get cut. But the money that the alumni and other private entities are raising definitely needs to go towards scholarships so these kids can go to school. Howard been on the forefront, but they're not the only one. I don't think it's just HBCUs. I think this is one of those things that I don't feel like they realize was going to affect everyone because when you're talking about financial aid, it's not just people of color. So now a whole lot of people ain't going to be able to get financial aid like they thought they were. Let's talk about Nolan. We staying on y'all's neck. Y'all want us to stop talking. We gonna keep talking. It says, "Dad of Nolan Wells' best friend." Wish that. Why would they put that in quotes? I want them to stop saying that. These boys, dad of one of these boys. That's what when I say friend, best friend, we gonna remove that and put one of these boys. The dad of one of these boys of Nolan Wells, plans to sue attorney Ben Crump for defamation. Says he's pushing a false narrative, accusing his sons and others of red rum. I haven't heard anybody accuse them of anything. The question is what happened. The sentiment is something happened and y'all are not saying what it is, but there's no accusation of red rum. There's accusation of lying and deceit and being secretive about what really happened, cover up. Those are things that have been said and those are not untrue. Now the father of Nolan Wells is speaking out and threatening legal action against attorney Ben Crump. As previously reported, Wells, 18, went missing during the 4th of July trip to Horn Island before his body was found in water 2 days later. Since his death, questions from his parents and investigators have surrounded the friends who were with him during the trip. For not the friends, but the boys over there. Now Ben Hudson, the father of Warren Hudson, who said he considered Wells his best friend, is accusing Wells' family. Isn't it interesting how there's no relationship, is there, between Nolan Wells' parents and this kid over here, Willy Wonka? Is there any like relationship between those two? Because they keep on saying this best friend. He said he considered Wells his best friend and is accusing Wells' family attorney, Ben Crump, of pushing a false narrative about his son and others. Hudson says his family plans to sue Crump for defamation and slander. I guess y'all got money to throw away, child. That's a whole nother conversation. He told the New York Post, in my opinion, we'll see. You don't get to sue for your opinion, but okay. Ben Crump has slandered and falsely accused my son and his friends of red rum, and he's pursued what's an obvious false narrative. I think he can expect a lawsuit, not just from my family, but from a number of other families who, in my opinion, he has defamed. I feel like he's used to it. Bring it on. Spend your money. Do what you got to do. Spend that shit. Hudson also accused Crump of using the tragedy for financial and political gain. Now, I won't say that's probably not true. The people say it. When I say the people, I mean T. They say he be out here taking the people's money. In my opinion, truth is it's not been Crump's concern. He's exploiting the situation and raising money. He added, I think this is financially exploiting this entire tragedy and making it a much bigger tragedy at the expense of my family and our community and the Wales family. Crump responded to Hudson's claim saying, this is a distraction. We're not distracted by it all, by it at all. Yeah. He's doing his job. He's supposed to do what he's hired to do. So, as far as him, exploiting the family, I think it's a lot of eyes on him, but like I said, it's been said that Ben Crump may not be, um, the most responsible person when it comes to handling the finances of it all, and that he may be somebody who's out here, doing things from a financial gain. We are all here, as a community, keeping our foot on Mississippi. At the end of the day, like, Nolan is just one of so many. We got kids coming up. There's a lady hung the other day in a tree so high that they needed a ladder to get her down. So how she do that? She climbed, the tree, and then, child, this is a distraction. I wish they would stop referring to this kid as his best friend. Like, they keep saying that as if that somehow changes the narrative. I'm not saying that this boy did anything to Nolan. I don't think I've heard anybody say that. What everybody has said is, what happened? Y'all know what happened. Things don't add up. We would like answers, and I feel like his parents have every right to ask those questions, but oh no, they don't like that. They don't want them asking anything. So it says Nolan Wells' friend said in a recent interview that Nolan's mom is responsible for amping up the divide and hate toward them. I haven't heard this lady say anything except for during a press conference about where's my, what happened. She's not amping up anything. If anything, she's the victim of hate crimes. Or, I mean, it should be a crime coming after her livelihood. They essentially victimized the family after losing their son. It says they're amping up the divide and hate towards them. The case after her Facebook posts and pictures of them on the boat went viral. This is the picture of y'all sitting up there with Red Bulls. You know what I'm saying? All this picture says is he was with y'all. So then what happened? I don't understand how that would be, amping up hate. In a recent interview on the Officer Tatum show, oh, Lord, I hope he receives the fate that, he deserves. Power of three. Officer Chatham show Warren Hudson, Jax Patilio, and Morgan Seymour discussed the backlash they faced since Wells disappeared during the July 4th trip to Horn Island, Mississippi. According to TMZ, one of the friends said Christine Walmsley's Facebook posts were at least partly responsible for amplifying the viral narrative and the hate aimed at them. How? Walmsley had previously shared photos of Wells with the group after he went missing, including an image showing him with several friends from the boat trip. That image quickly spread online and fueled speculation about what happened before Wells was found dead 2 days later. Yeah. I mean, they're so entitled that they don't see the hand in front of their face, child. The friends have denied having any involvement in Wells' death and say they have been subjected to harassment, threats, and defamatory claims online. Their attorneys are reportedly preparing potential defamation lawsuits against the people they believe has spread false accusations. Are they going to now turn around and sue this lady after they know something that happened to her son, and now they're making her the victim? They're blaming her for the child. Wells' family, meanwhile, continues to question the circumstances surrounding his death and retain attorney Ben Crump while pursuing an independent investigation. Authorities have not publicly identified any suspects, and the cause and manner of Wells' death have not yet been officially determined. Child. I feel like they're just not that smart. Oh my God. Obviously. Good morning. Good morning, Miss Best Reviews. I was over here calling you Beats. I was like, she ain't got no Beats by Dre, child. Y'all make sure you check out Miss Best Reviews. She is a kiki over there. She does a lot of the shows, like, the Married at First Sight. She's doing Put a Ring on It, child. I'm so glad you're doing it, because I'm going to just be over there. And she's got a lot more going on. She's super supportive. So let's go over there, like her video, subscribe to her channel. We're trying to grow, as a community over here. Media always make melanin redacted look innocent. Child. This is a picture of where they were, on the boat. So I'm not sure what it's supposed to be. The random complaints against his mother's nursing board is appalling. They're coming after her. And I mean, as a mother, I can't imagine what it would feel like to have to grieve your child, the death of your child, especially in such a horrific way where you've got these people that are clearly covering up what actually happened. But and then I've lost a parent. I can't imagine what it would feel like to lose a child, and then on top of that, have to deal with this foolishness. And I feel like that lady, in no way, shape, or form, really wants to be in the midst of the circus of Ben Crump and all of that stuff that it brings. But she definitely needs to have somebody high profile to be on this case. All of the people that have been involved, trying to help her through this, and these clowns is over here like, we don't like it. Y'all are making us uncomfortable. Ugh. I hope they stay on their neck. Good morning, Lotus Egyptian Flower. So, yeah, justice for Nolan. We're going to keep talking. They kill me talking about it. Just like those girls that beat up the black girl down to their house in Michigan, and they're talking about we investigating, trying to figure out what the charges might be. What is there to investigate? They can have the evidence right in their hands, and they want to be like, well, let's see. Let's check it out. And other political news, I'm going to let my girl Alizé tell you what's going on down to the Pentagon because she's so colorful.
Straight to jail, straight to jail. And y'all need to be dropping their mugshots. Y'all need to be dropping what these people look like, because I bet they don't look like me, nigga. I don't know who they look like. They look like the people that was listed in the damn Epstein files. Fire everybody. Lock their ass up. We need to put them in front of a firing squad. Get rid of their stupid, nasty, dirty ass. Extensive child sharing uncovered on Pentagon computers. Hundreds of employees involved. You nasty fuckers couldn't even wait till you got home. Y'all had to watch this shit at work, bruh. But we the savages. We is slow down, dirty, nasty motherfuckers. Let them tell it. I don't even care what color you is. It could be black folks. If they doing this, they deserve to get their ass. And I ain't the one that said that. Jesus said that. He had a kid on his lap. And he looked at all the people listening to him and he said, to touch one of these, if you harm one of these right here, you're better off tying a center block or a concrete block around your neck and jumping into the water, nigga. Y'all be like, one nation under God and y'all so Christian. If y'all so Christian, y'all know what happens when you touch children. So go ahead and do me a favor and tie something around your neck and jump straight into the Atlantic, because I don't care. God can love you. I don't. I'm done. I'm tired of it. Y'all nasty. Y'all cruel. Y'all harsh. And y'all done did this shit to the whole fucking world. Fuck y'all. It's over with. Off with your goddamn tops. Straight to jail. All of them. Straight to jail.
It's wild how we don't even hear him. They're not even talking about this. You said, I love Whoa Baby Page. You know what I love about this too? We had the whole conversation about the bonnets and things, and I found another story. I'll talk about it tomorrow, but um the bonnets and the do-rags down to Tuskegee, I happen to be on the side of I'm not having a problem with it. However, this right here makes me feel a different type of way because she's over here, with her do-rag being extremely intelligent and funny at the same time. And I feel like she could relate to her peer group. Now, this is a situation where I feel like it's important to have somebody that looks like you because you're going to trust what they have to say probably more than somebody who is, code switching or, a completely non-melanated person. So, time and a place and, not to get off the subject because, she's over here talking about how the Pentagon is over here running rapid with child porn on the daggum. Oh, did I say the? Delete that. Corn. Corn is what I said. I said corn on the computers over there. So this is a story nobody's talking about it. She's the first person that I heard bring it up. They keep these things real hush hush over there. But yeah, I love that the messaging is coming from somebody who is sporting her do rag and speaking a vernacular nasty ass very clear for everybody to understand. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I definitely think that representation is important in different arenas. However, I still think if you get your ass up and go to school, brush your hair and brush your teeth. Um, yeah, that's disgusting. How nobody you haven't heard of nobody. Maybe they're investigating. Are they investigating? Did anybody get fired? I'm so tired of them doing things so blatantly and protect the kids. I feel really uncomfortable. It's weird. You know how when you go out in the store and somebody's admiring your baby, I don't do too much with people's baby. I never have, touching and trying to talk and that kind of thing. Unless somebody's baby says hi, you know how sometimes they random hi. I don't too much with people's baby. And when I'm out in the store with my grandson and people are admiring him, it makes me uncomfortable. I never know where y'all coming from because y'all are weird out there. We can't trust nobody. Trust no one for any reason ever. Texas. I wonder if this is going to be a thing in Texas. I wonder if this is actually going to move them because I have my opinion.
Its biggest mistake that it could have ever made during an election year. They were legalizing marijuana and THC in the state of Texas. They took something and made it legal, and now they're taking it and making it illegal again. And that is going to be a problem. A lot of Texans like having THC available. And a lot of people in Texas understand that the liquor manufacturers are the reason why THC is being outlawed again. That's right. You're not drinking liquor anymore. It's not only bad for liquor manufacturers, it's bad for a lot of things like restaurants and bars, lawyers and prosecutors as well. Because if you're not drinking and driving, and you're not having accidents too. Don't forget that. But with the soaring prices of food costs, these bars and establishments and restaurants are putting pressure on them as well because we're not drinking alcohol like that. One of the things that's going to be on the top of the ticket in Texas will be the legalization of THC. And the Republicans just show that they don't support that. That's going to be a problem. I think Texas.
We'll see. I mean, I hadn't had that take. You know what I mean? I do think that, I mean, the numbers don't lie. So the alcohol consumption, the purchase of alcohol is definitely much lower. I've never been a drinker. I've always been the designated driver because I could go to the club and have a couple drinks and then I'm good. But there's people who cannot. Even now, sometimes I'll be at the store and I'm like, maybe I'll get a bottle of wine. And then by the time, it's all over with, I'm like, nah, I'm straight. I don't really need it. I feel like but like I said, it's never really been my thing. I don't know if it's the same for people who drink on a regular. I think it's probably the next generation of people, but hell, y'all was feeding them kids super monster drinks and all of that stuff. They're probably scared to drink anything at this point. You said all the CA people who moved to Texas about to come back. Uh-huh. I've been to Texas. I had to do a training in Texas and I was like, I'm out. I'm good. When Texas made the what do you call it? Termination illegal, they all came back to ATP. Let's let go of the South and just it's just a headache and plots to put people of color in jail. Now that's what I think. That's what I think, Miss Best. I think that this is just a plot to put people of color in jail so that when it's time to get down to the polls, there will be less of us over there, you know what I mean, to vote in their favor. So we'll see. I don't Texas. I think Texas, and I'm in Florida. For some reason, Texas seems to work worse. Good morning to go to Africa. You said the reason alcohol sales are down is because young people don't like the taste. At least that's what my young people around me are saying. I agree, Lotus Egyptian flower. Well, that and they smoke weed. And because weed has been legalized in many states. So, you smoke weed, you go up. It's mostly a chill thing, and then you go down. Now, should you be operating a motor vehicle? You should not. But at the end of the day, when you smoke, you're not hungover. You don't lose senses. Mean, nasty drunks. Alcohol does weird things to people, and I don't know why drunk people always want to get behind the wheel of somebody's car. So yeah, I think it's a generation of people who have access to gummies and all the stuff they do and they just don't really want the alcohol. They can just drink a lemonade or whatever it is they like to drink. So we'll see. I don't really have high hopes for Texas. If this lady live in Texas, I don't know, but we'll see what happens. If whatever it takes to get the people out there to do the right thing. Hopefully, this is something that's going to get done. Claude will now add invisible watermarks to AI generated text images. These will be used to quickly identify AI work being passed off as authentic work. Hopefully, they will do that, across the internet too. I want to know what I'm looking at and whether it's real or AI. Um, Anthropic is preparing to introduce invisible machine readable watermarks for content generated by Claude, including text and supported image files. Ooh, y'all ain't gonna be able to cheat no more. They're gonna know AI did it for you. The move is designed to make AI generated material easier for platforms and users to identify while helping Anthropic meet new transparency requirements under the European Union AI Act. For text, Anthropic says the watermark will be embedded directly into Claude's output without affecting its meaning or readability. Because the marker is built into the text itself, it can remain after copying and pasting. Oh, wow. And may survive some editing. Supported images files will use digitally signed provenance information based on the C2PA standard. The change is not fully active across every Claude model yet. Of course not. Anthropic said newly released models will include the technology from launch. I was just going to say that. Why don't they put that in place while they're making things? While it works to add support to existing models during the EU's compliance grace period, the company is also developing tools that could allow third parties to detect Claude's watermarks. So now they're gonna be working to undo it. It's a hamster wheel. The technology is not foolproof. Anthropic acknowledges that province information can sometimes be removed, and that the absence of a detectable watermark does not necessarily prove something was created by a human. I mean, whatever steps it takes. I'm so tired of AI. It's ridiculous. I get it to some extent, but I feel like laziness and convenience is going to be the death of us. I promise you, because we just don't want to do nothing. What about the artists that want to put pencil to paper? You know what I'm saying? Even digital artists, like, I don't, now you got somebody that's doing the whole thing for you. Well, we just go sit in pods and don't think for ourselves anymore, for goodness sakes. As if traveling wasn't already stressful enough, a child who refused to wear a seatbelt and remained seated for takeoff caused a flight to Toronto to be canceled. How old was this child? For goodness sakes. It says Porter Airlines flight to Toronto was canceled after a toddler reportedly refused to stay seated with their seatbelt secure before takeoff. According to the airline, flight PD444 had already left the terminal at Victoria International Airport and was heading towards the runway when crew members noticed that the child standing in their seat. After attempts by both the parents and the flight crew to get the toddler properly secured were unsuccessful, the pilots returned the aircraft to the terminal because it could not safely take off. By the time the family was removed, their luggage retrieved, and the necessary flight paperwork redone, it was reportedly too late to depart before the airport's 12:30 a.m. runway closure. Oh my God, forcing the entire flight to be canceled. Porter apologized to the other passengers who were ultimately able to fly out the following day. The following day, oh my God, that's not okay. That's terrible. The pilot was free for now that people liked. Wait, say that again. The pilot was for free now that people liked it. Then it's time to charge for it. Charge for what? Lotus Egyptian flower. I don't know. I think I'm not understanding, there's so many reasons why this child maybe wouldn't sit down. I would say maybe sometimes dealing with a child on the spectrum. It didn't say anything about that, but it's more difficult. I think the initiative is because I seen somebody in the comments talking about they would have whooped the child's butt. Well, then you will go to jail. That's not necessarily how that works. I don't think spankings makes a child sit down. It just makes them, loud and crying and, more activated than they already were, especially in a public place. There's only so much you can do. I do feel like the parents know, you know what I'm saying, know their child. When I had to fly with my daughter, I kept her behind awake until we got in that airplane. I played with her and entertained her, engaged with her until it was time for takeoff. When it's time for takeoff, then I gave her a bottle so she could go ahead and go to sleep. It's different for every child. Oh, you talking about Claude. You said Claude, it seems like it was a pilot for free. Now the creator investor wants to charge to use the program. I know one thing, they gonna have to do something about AI, because even like with the cases that we've talked about, like with Nolan Wells, like all these fake things. I saw a false video of the mother out buying a car, like to imply that she's using the money that was raised to go buy her a new vehicle. So we definitely need some kind of safeguard on what's real, what's AI, and what's not. It's getting too hard to tell. You got to be looking to see if people got six fingers and all kinds of foolishness. But yeah, can you imagine your flight was canceled? I had a flight to Dallas one time when I was flying back and forth to Dallas, and they had to reroute. The way they had to reroute, they didn't have enough gas for. So we had to stop in, I want to say San Antonio or somewhere. I was on my way to Dallas. I was not supposed to be in Austin or San Antonio or wherever the hell I ended up having to land. So we land, we get off the plane. At first we were on the plane, then we're off the plane. And then, we have to get a different plane, and it's all of these people standing in line trying to get rerouted. And because I was traveling by myself, I was able to get on the next flight. The powers that be were in my favor, so I wasn't stuck there overnight. They were giving vouchers. I did get a voucher for a flight because of that. But yeah, I was able to get there, but by the time I got there, the day was over with. So those things just, they happen, but I feel like it's unfortunate that it's because of a toddler that wouldn't sit down. That's wild. All you can be is mad, but I feel like there should be other stipulations. Maybe, I don't know, the pilot waited too long to get the kid off the plane. That sucks. That sucks for everybody. And I feel for the parents because you never know with a baby. You never know. We're not going to blame the child. Like I said, I don't know that it was anything other than a child. And I don't understand why people are like, what would you like for them to do? Tie the baby down and the baby is hollering and screaming. And what is that going to look like? So I hate flying for so many reasons. We got some more flock of fools over here. It's happening everywhere. This is another story, and I just keep seeing them over and over again. Three former Bibb County, Georgia sheriff deputies are facing criminal charges after an internal audit conducted with help from Flock allegedly found that they accessed the department's license plate camera system for personal law enforcement purposes. Uh, this child mama hated him. Cosnavian Stubbs, Joseph Calloway, and Tony Lewis were arrested on August 10th and booked into Bibb County Law Enforcement Center. Investigators say each of the three separate incidents involved someone the deputy had personal relationship with at the time. These police is out here stalking their partners with the flock cameras. Look at them. Cosnavian. Calloway, a former K-9 deputy, faces the most serious charges, including violation of oath by public officer, unauthorized disclosure of criminal history records, inappropriately retaining license plate data, and 3 counts of stalking, while Stubbs and Lewis each face similar charges with single stalking count apiece. Stubbs and Lewis resigned as patrol deputies during the investigation, and Calloway resigned shortly after his arrest. The case remains under investigation. How are you going to resign from a job that you was fired from? I feel like the point in which they took you off in cuffs, you knew you didn't work there anymore. You said, I can't imagine that child is a child of color. I don't think so. I don't think so either, to go to Africa. That was definitely not my vision. But I mean, I also feel like you never know. When you're a parent of a toddler, you never know what's going to happen. So, being a parent in an airport is torturous. So, yeah, they out here just doing all of these nefarious things with these flock cameras. And here we go. 3 of us, 3 people of color over here doing things they know they not supposed to be doing. This is why you never date a police officer. That would be my sentiment also. They need to use it for good by finding these missing kids or solving these red rooms. They over there playing. It's like they got handed another toy to do bad things with. I pulled up this one just because Haines City is the next city over from me. So he might have been like, within my, neighborhood, child. Haines City officer used flock cameras to track estranged wife on 717 occasions. Good grief. It says a Haines City police officer has been arrested after authorities said they learned he was misusing flock cameras to track his estranged wife location. 717 times. And at no point in audit of flock camera utilization occurs. Y'all just using technology uncontrollably and unmonitored. That's the first comment. 717 times that he got away with abusing flock cameras, and they know of it. They know. They know. I don't believe he could get over here. You know what I'm saying? It seems like such a. Why do all these police officers even have access? They should not. I don't think they should have any access to the flock camera. I think there should be channels that they should have to go through, like independent companies that they would have to go through to attain certain information, and you should have to have certain what do you call it, security clearances in order to see this information. These cops is just down there. Ugh. Where is John? What's his name? Mulhaney. Fuck the police. I just say that. He said it. What's next, child? Okay, so remember when we was over here talking about we was being very cutesy, very mindful. Remember we were all there over here saying we were being very mindful of things. Well, this is the originator.
My head, and I need your help. Listen, I'm very uncomfortable making this video because this is a video I thought I'd never have to make. About maybe like 4 or 5 months ago, I had a deal with a dentist, and he was going to completely take out all my teeth and give me a brand new set of teeth, because through addiction, my teeth are severely destroyed. And the deal ended up falling through. And for the past maybe 2 months, you guys know I've been on my own dental health journey. I've gotten, a few cavities filled. I had a root canal. And every time I go to the dentist, it's made clear to me, I'm fighting an uphill battle. Like, it's being made clear to me that no matter how much I do here, I'm going to eventually have to take out all my teeth. And I've already spent $6,000 on this. My teeth are falling out of my head, and I need your help. Listen, so I don't know what else to do. I don't want to ask my community for help, but I feel like I have no other choice at this point. I would love to go get a regular job. Girl, don't get me wrong, but even then, I don't think that that's going to help my situation. Not in a dismissive kind of way. Like, I'm streaming every day and it's becoming very successful. I've gained a good amount of followers over just a matter of weeks. But I know that it's gonna be a few months until that's stable. And I wanted to fix my teeth on my own, but I can't go on like this. Like, every day it hurts. It hurts to drink water. It hurts to drink water, girl. Like, I have a hole on each side of the upper side of my teeth, and it hurts. All my teeth are moving, and they hurt all the time. And I'm just tired of being in pain. And I hate that I have to come to the internet and ask for help because everyone's struggling, but I don't know what else to do. And I feel like such a loser for crying and being like, donate to my GoFundMe. Like, girl, I got sober. I did everything I had to do. I'm trying to be a full-time influencer still. And clearly I don't think it's working out in the best manner, but everyone always says, reach out when you need help. I need help. I really need help. And not for something facetious or something that, isn't impacting my health directly. Like, I've wanted to come out here and be like, guys, help me get boobs, and guys, help me get my face. But I can live like this. I need to eat. I'm the worst. I'm sorry. But it hurts. It hurts to drink things. It hurts to eat. It hurts. I'm brushing 3 times a day. There's still fucking blood coming out of my mouth.
I mean, I can sympathize on one hand because Tooth pain is something serious. But when you say I'm an influencer, I'm doing, well, my channel, my whatever is growing, at a good pace. However, your teeth did not get like this overnight. It's due to drug addiction. And you said you didn't want to get a job. Like I feel like if it's that, you could go drive DoorDash or something. You could get them jokers pulled out one at a time. You said how folks know he paying for teeth and not for more stuff. I mean, it could be that. The follow-up video is him saying the money was refunded and I took it down. I guess I'm questioning like GoFundMe. It feels like people are doing GoFundMe for any reason. To come over to GoFundMe and be like, hey, my teeth hurt. Can you help me? He said he want she. I'm probably using the wrong pronoun. She said she wanted, get her boobs done and her face done and one at a time, child. But I feel like if they hurt that bad, I would get out and DoorDash and Uber and whatever I gotta do to get them jokers out one tooth at a time if you can't even drink water. But is this an abuse of GoFundMe? I mean, in the beginning, it felt like GoFundMe was somebody said that. Somebody was like, if you go get a job, you can at least get some dental plan. I don't know that Uber offers that, but you can buy an independent plan. You can go ahead and buy your own dental insurance and just get a like side job long enough to pay to get your teeth done. You spent $6,000, it's only like $100 or two, maybe 200 to get an extraction depending on the tooth. Child, you better start pulling them things out one at a time, so at least it doesn't hurt. I don't know what to tell you, but I do know that, bad teeth will affect your health in a horrible way. So, I hope Miss Thing get her situation together, but it won't be via. I'm not a fan of people who saying I could get a 9 to 5. Like influencing as what? What is she an influencer of? I don't know. I didn't go seek it out. I just know I seen her on my timeline talking about, look at how I go to work. Very cutesy, very mindful. Well, it don't even seem like you going to work and your teeth is falling out. And again, like Elsie said, you have an addiction. So how do we know, you're not trying to play us for, some whatever meth money or whatever it is you was on. I don't think weed make your teeth fall out, but the meth heads, they have a hard, their teeth be anyway. Here's another GoFundMe. Is this one any different? Do we feel any different about this one? Malcolm Jamal Warner's widow and their 9-year-old daughter are receiving public support as a fight over the actor's estate continues. Destiny Rayel, Tanisha Warner's closest friend of 19 years, launched a GoFundMe Tuesday with a $150,000 goal. Rayel said Tanisha has stretched every resource she has while grieving, homeschooling her daughter, and handling unexpected flooding at the family's home. I know she would never ask for this kind of support herself, so I'm asking on her behalf, Rael wrote. Malcolm died at 54 in an accidental drowning during a Costa Rica family vacation in July of 2025. Tanisha says he planned to replace the 1996 estate plan and provide for her and their daughter, but died before the signing of dated documents. The widow is now pursuing claims involving his mother, Pamela Warner, who serves as the successor trustee of the Warner Family Trust. Tanisha alleges Malcolm also agreed to obtain a $1 million life insurance policy named as her beneficiary but never secured it. Rael stressed that the fundraiser is not asking supporters to choose sides. Instead of donations, will help Tanisha maintain stability while she navigates single parenthood, grief, and unsolved estate proceedings. Honestly, I feel worse for this child over here with the daggone bad teeth. I, I don't. Um, I feel like many women are in this position Not even just because their husband passed away. Like sometimes, divorce, whatever, puts you in a position where, you know, look at these women on the Housewives. Look at Kelly over here fighting for her life, as a business owner, trying to navigate, divorce and not losing, homes and having to send her daughter to college. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about this one. I don't feel this sorry for her. Um, you said I've been here since minute one watching. Oh, oops! I'm all up in y'all's conversation. Um, um. Oh, she behaving today. That's what it is. She is behaving today, but I'm telling on her. I'm telling on Lotus Egyptian Flower. Else she tried to get me to say something, that I had no business saying on the internet, but I resisted and I didn't do it. What do y'all think? Do you think that this lady should be over here $150,000? I guess we can all get a GoFundMe. I got some things I need. Would it be out of line for me to, try to get my own dentistry taken care of with a GoFundMe? You know what I'm saying? I'm not looking for 6,000. I'm not looking for 150,000. So what is GoFundMe actually for? And who are the people that are supposed to do it? I've seen people like trying to raise money for their kids to go to a certain camp. And I feel like maybe those kids, should like wash cars or something. That's what we used to do when we wanted to raise money for things. Not just say, hey, I want to go here. Can you, I have a client who her granddaughter, who's the older sister, for her little brother's birthday, he wanted some type of, I don't know, electronic thing that she couldn't afford by herself. So she sent text messages out to the family for donations towards the birthday present. And I was like, I respect that because it's family. You know what I'm saying? Hey, if we all give $20 to Jason, then he can have this thing he actually wants. And a lot of times parents can't afford to get things, that they want for their kids. So I don't know why Tanisha didn't start downsizing. What are you doing? A flood happened in her house. What is she doing for income besides waiting on this money? I I think she deserves the money, but I don't think we should be out here like who. I don't think we should be out here, pay helping her pay her mortgage, 150,000. So we want to go pay her bills so she can do what for the rest of the year. Malcolm has been gone for a year. I feel like even though a year goes by very fast, if you can't maintain where you're at. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the normal person would be like, he's he's no longer with us. I can't afford this by myself. I need to start making steps to, you know, downsize. It's me and my daughter making decisions that's gonna put you in a position. So I don't know. Does she get nothing? Does she get nothing like when he passed away? And shame on that grandmama. Anyway, I don't know. I just feel like it's just so easy. Good morning, Pack. I feel like it's so easy to just make a GoFundMe for things. You know what I'm saying? Instead of, I don't understand why. A friend, I think that's really nice of you, but I don't know. I feel more sorry for the child over here with the teeth falling out. When you say all my teeth are falling out, it hurts to drink water. That makes me feel a little more sympathetic. Aside from the drug thing, it makes me feel a little more sympathetic than Malcolm's widow over here trying to get her bills paid through a GoFundMe. Florida prosecutors have dropped a domestic violence case against ex-NFL star Marcellus Wiley after finding that none of the evidence his estranged wife presented against him added up. Did she make it up? I want to know more. It says Florida prosecutors have dropped the domestic violence case against former NFL star Marcus Wiley, declining to move forward with the charges stemming from his July arrest in Orlando. According to court documents obtained by TMZ, prosecutors in Orange County determined that the testimonial evidence in the case was not supported by physical or other evidence and was therefore insufficient to secure a conviction. Wiley was arrested on July 4th following allegations involving his estranged wife, Anna Marie Wiley, who later filed for divorce and sought a domestic violence restraining order. She has accused Wiley of physical and sexual and emotional abuse during her marriage. Wiley has repeatedly denied the allegations. The decision means Wiley will not face prosecution over the Florida domestic battery allegations. However, the separate divorce and restraining order proceedings involving the former couple are still distinct from the criminal case. When did they come to Florida? I thought they was Hollywood people. First comment. Men have to start pressing charges for false accusations. You could lose your whole career or even life because of it. This is getting out of hand. See what I'm saying? That's why I played that cartoon in the morning. Nobody said that he was innocent or that they were false. I don't actually believe that. I do believe her. I think, she just didn't have, her evidence in order. And a lot of times, if you're in that type of relationship, there is no evidence. Who was there to watch it all happen? You said Malcolm needed to do the paperwork to protect his wife a long time ago. They've been married for years. I agree. They've been married for years. I hate this narrative that he saw something. I think he didn't see something necessarily. I think he just didn't handle his business like a lot of people wouldn't. Even Chadwick Boseman didn't handle his business, and he knew what his ultimate ending was going to be. I would feel better paying directly to a dentist. I would feel better if this person went and, made an effort. I can't stand by you if you're saying, that's like me sitting up here saying, I'm about to lose my house and, my YouTube channel not monetized yet. Can y'all just, go fund me? You got to go get up and do something. Child, you an influencer. I guess. What was the other comment that I seen? Protect Black women. It says, let the apologies be as loud as the accusations. I ain't sorry, because I think he did it. Yeah, there's just a lot of, there's both points of view. I feel like it's Florida. I didn't know they were in Florida, but I also feel like that this means nothing. This just means her evidence was not sufficient according to the court. So I wonder what the judge looked like. Wiley paid for a good lawyer. That part too, that makes a difference because he's probably the one with the most access to the funds. So yeah, I don't believe that it didn't happen. I don't care for Anna Marie, but I believe that this happened. The point in which that man told her she was an 8 let me know everything I needed to know. Y'all still shopping down to these designer brands? Savannah James was turned away from Hermes store from an Hermes store in Italy when she tried to shop with her friend. The friend now says Hermes has fired the employee and turned them away and offered them a VIP shopping session. I don't want it. This same thing happened to Oprah down here at Hermes. They ain't never wanted y'all in there, but y'all keep going. Photographer Stephen Williams says he was discriminated against at Louis Vuitton store by being denied entry despite only 2 customers being in the store. So what is it that they need to do to make y'all stop going? I don't understand. There's plenty of Black brands out there, and I feel like what would happen to these Black brands if somebody like Savannah James, was representing. Y'all want to represent Hermes in order to be in a, class with these women, with these exclusive bags. I got a knockoff. It looks really good too. I'm just saying. I didn't even purchase it. It was a gift. A friend went somewhere and she got a couple of them and she gave me one of them. So, I got a knockoff for free. It's a cute ass bag, and I carry it, and I don't, doesn't make me feel, any type of way that it's not authentic. Um, Imagine if Savannah James went and promoted a black brand. Actively black was over here in this comment. I mean, in this post. Well, they're the one that posted it. Um, Look at that bag. That's a nice bag. And it's probably, I'm gonna guess, I've been on their website plenty of times. It's probably around $300. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, an Hermes bag, which is gonna be like, the cost of a small motor vehicle. But yeah, the mindset, you got LeBron over here, talking smack about where he ain't gonna stay in Memphis. He's playing in Philly now, but he had to get a helicopter because I think he's living in, I forget where he's staying, somewhere close to Philly, but he's not staying in Philly. He got a helicopter that's gonna be bringing him back and forth to the games. Sounds similar to the incident that Oprah went through. That's what I said, Pack. It happened to Oprah. They still doing it. And there's been others. But imagine how, black brands could be elevated if these people would be more interested in showcasing their work. It's, the Hermes and all of that, they made in China. They be sending these bags across, being made for couple $1,000 and then sell them to y'all for 3, 4, 5 times the amount. I don't know if Hermes, it was Hermes, yeah. I think it's people's mindset that it works at the store. I mean, look at what city the store is getting the complaints. It's happening at Zara. We don't even have to go as high as Hermes. We need to start spending our money within our own community, and unfortunately, there's an unnatural allegiance to celebrity. So the fact that Savannah is married to LeBron, that makes her celebrity, and so people look to her for her decision making. And maybe she should be making different decisions. That's all I'm saying. When it comes to fashion and, the fake, I don't even know what it is, elevation of your status and, where you're shopping is baffling to me, especially with these people that don't want nothing to do with us. So here's another one. Anna Wintour defends her 2027 Met Gala theme honoring John Galliano despite designer's past hate crime convictions, and his career isn't defined by a moment. That's what she said. She said his career isn't defined by a moment. I guess, child. That doesn't mean he needs to be honored. Are we going to use Robert Kelly music as the theme song? Because, it's not the music. It's not the man. That's the way people feel. Like Michael Jackson's movie just made $1 billion, and now they, on to the next. They about to do another one. I saw they're about to do another one. They tried to do a double grab on the Michael Jackson movie. Anyway, the Costume Institute has announced its spring 2027 exhibition, John Galliano Horizons, making the designer only the third living honoree in the show's history, following Yves Saint Laurent in 1983 and Ray Kawakubo in 2017. Galliano, 65, built his reputation as Givenchy, Dior, and later Maison Margiela, but his career was upended in 2011 after a string of anti-Semitic and racist outbursts, most notoriously a filmed incident in which he expressed admiration for Hitler at a Paris restaurant. I wonder what Hitler felt about gay men. Just saying. Those outbursts led to 2 separate hate crime convictions in Paris, tied to a February 2011 verbal assault on a man at a cafe near his apartment, and a similar incident targeting a woman 3 months earlier. Galliano was fined roughly $8,500 and later attributed the behavior to addiction. Really? because being an addict makes you a racist. Okay. Telling the court he was seeking treatment. In 2024 documentary revisiting the episode, he described his conduct bluntly. It was disgusting thing, a foul thing that I did. Okay. I guess we call that what? Olivia Pope. um the Met is framing the exhibit as an unflinching look at Galliano's full legacy rather than the way to cover up his past. Vogue's Anna Wintour, a longtime champion of Galliano, defended the choice, saying, "There's no one more deserving of an exhibition of this scale." She added, he's a great designer and his career isn't defined by a moment, something that he will live with for the rest of his life. Okay, girl. The exhibition won't shy away from any of the darkness in John's past. The point of what has shaped him. The show will take the full arc of his career and grapple with all of it. This first comment, not defending Kanye's action, but he did the exact same thing. Yes, they treated him completely different. I thought the same thing. I can't stand Kanye, but here we are, like, honoring this man that did the exact same thing. It says, makes you wonder how many moments Anna Wintour has had, and she felt it necessary to defend this man. I want to know, when are we going to stop? It's time to stop. The Met itself is trying to pull away from the gala because they don't like what the direction is going, because it's become so commercial. So how are these Black and Jewish entertainers going to handle this particular Met this year? Because the response to anti-Semitic behavior is very different, than regular old racism. So how are they going to handle it? Who's going to attend this gala? We had Jeff Bezos sponsoring this last gala, which, was very controversial. A lot of people didn't come. And the people that did come, well, was concerning. I don't know if they were under a rock or why they didn't know what was going on. But yeah, it'll be very interesting. Let's do something else. Let's do something else. We've got plenty of artists out here doing new modern things. Yes, John Galliano has a history in the fashion industry, but I don't think in any way, shape, or form he should be being honored over here. So yeah, I think I'm not gonna fool with the Met. This is a Met Gala. Not that they will be affected by it at all, but this is a Met Gala I won't cover and probably won't even watch. On to other celebrity news. I forgot to talk about this yesterday. Who is Jarvis? Kelly was over here. She exposed the man that she's been dating. Who is Jarvis? This is her man. This is the man, Jarvis, that dropped $70,000 on Kelly, who's over here financially struggling through her divorce. But she got a man who dropped $70,000 on her teeth. My suggestion, Jarvis, is, make sure all your money is in order, because this lady has put you on Front Street and your finances on Front Street down to Bravo. And, we've seen time and time again how the FBI will show up and ask you for your funds and, trying to see how you're paying for things. Now, I went over here to this page, which I think is completely ridiculous, because Kelly, don't you have other things to do? So she created this page, Who is Jarvis? And it's just her and him. The three pictures of her and him. So she created a page just so we could see who Jarvis is, and it's all pictures of her. There's one picture of Jarvis. Who's following her? Pinky is, and Kelly Yancey. I don't know. It just seems like a few of her friends are over here trying to see who is Jarvis. We don't care. It's so silly, but these people come over here, these women, they always come over here with this fantasy man, this Prince Charming, this young, handsome man came from out of nowhere, and he just tossing, 50 bands, 70 bands at you for your teeth. I guess, child. Anyway, if y'all were concerned, if y'all were curious, that's Jarvis. That's Jarvis. That's Kelly's boyfriend. Even though she's still over here trying to figure out how she gonna pay her bills. He put it in her mouth. I put it in your mouth. Huntsville is back or is returning. And so as soon as Huntsville returns, they turn up in the blogs. This is no Chaser TV. So somebody put in the comments, and this is why Melody left, because she knew they were bringing on the woman that destroyed her family. Hope she's still getting her EP check like Mariah from Married to Medicine. Well, Martell couldn't resist responding to that. He said, no, she did it. Just one of what it says, no, she just didn't want to finally be in the hot seat with her married slash security guard slash boyfriend. No, she's not getting those EP checks anymore, but I am. Is he? Martell is a liar, so we can't believe nothing that he says. Kelly thinks like a high schooler. Isn't that weird that she made a IG page just, so she can prove how much Jarvis loves her. He looks 20 something. He might be 30, but all I'm saying is when they come over here to the internet talking about how much so much money somebody has, 70,000, that's a big number to toss at some chick that you just been dating for a few months. So we'll see, child, if Jarvis is even in the picture. Yeah, Martell, when I say I can't stand him, so we know Ariana's coming on the show, and she's gonna make a fool of him. I'm sure of that. Martell is so obsessed with Mel's, it's crazy. You mean to tell me on the day his woman made her debut on Love and Marriage Huntsville, he's in the comments talking about Mel? Yep. Why isn't he posting about how excited he is about Coleslaw coming to the show? Because he's not excited. He's just glad that he's still there. She ran from the truth, so I'm here for the new season. That okay? Well, you got somebody over here saying Melody ran from the truth. I think it was time for Melody to go. That environment was so toxic. Nobody wants to have to keep being pushed in a situation where they're like, "Do you still have feelings for Martell?" You said, I thought she was the creator of Love and Marriage Huntsville. That's why I said I don't believe him. They both I think had EP credits, but I don't know how that turned out in the divorce. You know what I'm saying? So maybe she is, maybe she isn't. But I have a feeling if she ain't getting hers, then he ain't getting his either. Martell is barely in the scenes. He's over here struggling. And how is this going to look? I'm here for it. They needed something, to ignite the show because they couldn't pick up where they left off. We were like done. Meanwhile, I did not know about this. It said, oop, I am honestly overwhelmed with gratitude. The love and support for the collection has been incredible, and I'm so grateful to everyone who has shown up, purchased, shared, and supported us. God is good. God is so good. While still here, that's the name of it. Her and Destiny with these names. While Still Here is officially sold out, you can still shop the other two amazing scents, The Comeback and The Other Side. Trust me, you're going to love them. This collection is truly something special, and I want everyone to experience it. Head over to 7thAvenueBeauty.net and grab yours while they're still available. And don't forget to use your code Drew at the checkout for your discount. So Drew and Melody have a collaboration. Drew Sidora over here collabing. Still Her. Sold out. Doesn't that sound like the same stuff Destiny said? Still Her? I feel like she did. Still Standing collection. I hate this that Melody is using this AI. Her and Angela over here using AI. I saw her over on the internet defending that this black AI content creator. I don't like it. Um, there was no way Tisha was going to act like a lunatic for another season. How's she going to act now? Because now Coleslaw is coming over here. Coleslaw was sitting down with that lady that was saying that Marceau and Maurice were bending her over a chair down to credit one. You see her selling her stuff. Now, one thing you going to see Melanie Cherie doing, Melanie Cherie Rogers, is she will be down to the TikTok. She just be packaging her stuff and talking, and you can see the person walking around in the background. So Melanie definitely has turned her beauty business into, a moneymaker. And I love that. I feel like a lot of the things a lot of the things that she does, she's a businesswoman. While this fool is over here chasing the love and love and marriage Huntsville check. Last night in the chat, I think it was High Vibe said that check ain't gonna be but $500. So shout out to Coleslaw. The Scots would probably go back to hiding behind other cast members. They can't because in the clip. I showed the clip on my reality recap last night. On the clip, they lost the house. They went over there and he designed that box with the inside turf on the in the patio. And yeah, they lost the house. They had one house to sell. Damn. Close-Up will be on our media feed. Yep. I'll be here ready to hit record. Because one thing she is a lovely crash out down to the Instagram Live. She hasn't done that in a long time. So we're about to see. We're about to see that ridiculous relationship. It's not going to be played out like they think it is. I think she thinks she's doing her big one. But we all know that, them Kingdom Reign Entertainment is not going to... they're not going to let it just fly like that. So, yeah, that's all I got today, y'all. Hope your hump is not too humpy. I'm going to leave y'all with this. I thought this was so funny. This is definitely my level of petty. So if you got a neighbor that's out here stealing your stuff, go get your stuff back. What'd you say before I head out? You say, I think the house that Tisha recruited her sorors to help sell it. It did not fit the aesthetic of the neighborhood. It was overpriced, and according to the clip, they lost the house. I'm thinking that's the house that they lost. So, so there's that. Well, we'll get to see, when the season starts. Y'all have a good day. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and if this is your level of petty, then you're my kind of people.
Very trashy behavior, except it turns out this is actually bad neighbor behavior. Because a woman seen lifting open this trash can and then proceeding to dump everything inside of the trash can onto the ground. She's not littering, guys. She had lost her trash can, and in just a second she'll step to the side and you'll see that she has spray painted a number on the side, 141, which is her address. She lost her trash can, went walking down the street, and then found her trash can at a neighbor's house full of her neighbor's trash. Realizing that her trash can had been stolen by her own neighbor and then filled to the brim with trash, she was like, absolutely not. That trash can was hers, and she was making sure she wasn't leaving with any of her neighbor's belongings inside of her trash can. Crazy part being, as she's returning all of her neighbor's possessions back to her neighbor, the neighbor comes out and then starts chewing her out and recording her as if what she's doing is wrong. Keep in mind, this woman at least had enough of a forethought to mark her own trash can, so if it was stolen, she would be able to identify it. The woman you see here is the woman who stole her neighbor's trash can and then filled it to the brim with trash. Despite the obvious theft by her neighbor, the owner of this trash can isn't super petty. In fact, she actually goes through and picks up the items that were her trash and puts her trash back in her trash can before she takes the stolen trash can back to her house, with the trash can thief yelling at her as she goes. At first glance, this looks like very trashy behavior.